All right, cool. So, first thing I want to do is just welcome the listeners. So, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Today, the title of today's show is Creative Warriors Going Pro on the Warpath. I'm your host, Brandon Reel. I'm a music producer and online coach, helping producers and creative warriors go pro through the Prolific Producer and the Warpath. Today, I'm joined with my good friend, Ash Matthews, who's a music producer and audio engineer. And Ash has one of my favorite GoPro stories ever, pretty much, that I'm aware of. And the reason why is because I was a big part of it, or at least, he likes to say so. So today, basically, what we're going to do is first and foremost catch up. Him and I have not had a conversation in probably over a year.
At least, yeah, I would say at least.
And so we wanted to catch up, but we also thought that recording this conversation could do a lot for others as well. And so we kind of threw this together last minute, and we're going to get started with just talking about kind of the origin story of where our relationship began and how it turned into like a student-mentor relationship. And now it's always been a peer-to-peer relationship. We just both of us had the privilege of working together. And so, we're going to talk about kind of the story there and like where we're both at now and what we're both doing, and just catch up and share some of these insights with you guys. So, Ash, for starters, do you want to just kind of share from your perspective how our relationship came about and like where that's gone till today?
Yeah, so we both had mutual peers, mutual people that were working on music together, and we ended up setting up like a group day where we all went into the studio together to work on stuff. And that's where I met you, and then we did that a couple more times, and me and you like clicked immediately, just in like mindset and attitude and energy and the type of music we liked, and me and you just like really hit it off the bat. And so me and you started talking more, and then you were kind of sharing your insights on kind of developing and growing as a creator, as a creative, as well as personally, as well as professionally. And you had a lot of good insights that, were kind of shifting my mindset. And then you started the Prolific Producer thing, and I got involved in that because I loved everything that you were sharing up until then. So then we did that, and you recommended required some reading, which was amazing, and it set a course for the things that I read today, as well as the different, I don't want to call them activities, but like exercises and systems to set up and goals to reach, and good ways to set goals, good ways to achieve them, and just a lot of mindset and productivity systems that grew to where they are today. And yeah, now I still just convene with you here and there, check up on you, you check up on me, kind of, we throw things back and forth, and every time I bring something up, you're like, yeah, I read that, or like, yeah, I'm already doing that. So we definitely resonate with a lot of the material that we consume. And then like, I think you said really what it's about is that we just like, we clicked immediately, and I see so much of myself in you, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Yeah.
It's never hard to have a conversation. A lot of times our ideas just build on top of each other, and that's why I'm excited to do this today. So, really, the first question that I think is important is to kind of talk about what life was like for you before we started working together with the Prolific Producer. And just for everyone knowing, like, you were a part of the first cohort of anything I ever did. So like, this was what, at least 2 years ago?
At least, yeah.
And
more than that, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been more than 2 years.
And so back then I didn't know anything. Like, I am very grateful that you saw something in me that made you feel like if you worked with me at that time that something good would come out of it. We didn't really know where it was going to go or what was going to come from it, but we worked together for 4 months, and where you started in those 4 months and where you finished is is the whole reason why I want to tell this story today, is because that's what most people are after, is the result that you've created for yourself. And I only take a minute amount of credit for that, because you were already on the path. You were already going to make that happen one way or another. I think just what we did was kind of a catalyst for that.
Yeah, it accelerated it for sure.
And so, yeah, let's talk about just like what life was like before we started working together, and then shortly after we completed our program.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we first started working together and met that I was still working my day job, my 9 to 5 computer engineer programmer. Good money, office job, pretty comfy. It was nice, but it was a thing where like I would go in every day and be like, why am I here? Because at the time I was booking, I was only working at the studio nights and weekends essentially, and I was at some points booked out 2-3 months just because I couldn't fit it all in because I had a 9 to 5 to go to. So it was wake up 9 to 5, come home, let the dog out, eat something real quick, go to the studio, get home midnight, 1 a.m., go back to the day, and just that cycle every day, weekends packed like that. And then we started working together, doing those group sessions, and me and you were talking. And, even though you say you didn't know anything then, I think you did, but more importantly than that, you were a doer, not just a thinker. You're a thinker, but you're also a doer. And so you had these ideas, but you were starting to push them and implement them, not sitting and let me sit back and figure this out for 2 years and then go for it. You were like, I'm going to put this together now. It'll grow, it'll develop, we'll all learn together, but I know I have things to offer. So that's one of the main reasons I was wanting to jump on board, because I know like it didn't matter. I knew that you weren't going to like slow down or abandon it. I knew that you were like blinders all in, like you were focused. You're very, very focused. So yeah, we started doing that, and the reading. Should I like name some of the stuff?
Yeah, I think it's important because even till this day, the book, specifically the one I think the book
I think
yeah. is still a huge key component to like what I teach and the philosophy that I adopt for myself too. And just something I want to add is that everything that you said I'm a doer, right? Like I'm a thinker, but I'm a doer. Everything that I've ever taught another person, I have chiseled away at the idea or the philosophy or the system in my own life more times than I can even count to make sure that it's even like worth sharing with someone, And so you think it's easier up here?
Yeah.
Dude, my arm's gonna get tired.
That's why I'm on here.
Double arm. But anyway, so yeah, you can talk about like kind of the books or just like what you remember us kind of going through at that time, because I'm interested to hear what stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the book Psycho-Cybernetics, that like it was not only interesting in the fact that it was about self-image written by a plastic surgeon. So like the perspective from the writer was already very interesting. But then just the way that it helps mold you to see yourself not as someone that wants to do something, but someone that is doing something. I think that's the part that's what I got out of it, is I need to stop looking at myself as the person that's going to leave their day job to pursue music full time, and as I'm the person that does music full time, like getting that in your head before you even take whatever the next steps are to do that. As far as the other stuff that we went along, I mean, as vague as it is, I think it was just the idea of setting up systems, whether they were like a routine or a system for goal achievement, or even as specific as like a system on everything that you need to export to make the content or the product that you are giving or selling or whatever you're doing with it, as well as systems of additional income, systems of providing and giving back, systems of community, setting up Discord in the right way, checklists, just a lot of stuff like that.
Okay, so just to make sure we're like staying on the point here, basically you started working with me and you were still working a day job.
Yeah.
And either coming into that, you knew like you wanted to go full time in music.
Yeah, I knew the potential is there.
Right. So you were already shooting for that. You were already gunning for that. And then I think when we started working, it was kind of at like a moment where you were ready to like make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
There were just, maybe some fear or like logistics issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing that I want everyone to know here is that Ash does this full time
Yes,
now, which is kind of like the whole point here, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're a full time music producer and audio engineer. And so what shifted from, and whether it was during the time we worked together or not, like what was the shift that it took in you to go from, I'm working this full-time job, which is comfortable. I don't love it, but it's the thing I need to do right now. And I'm doing music on the side, to basically in 4 months, you went from that to I'm doing music full time.
Mm-hmm.
What shifted, whether it be like a mindset or in your approach, like the work you were doing, like what was the shift where you were like, I know I'm ready to do this and I'm going to do it?
Yeah, it's hard to say because, it wasn't just one thing. I would say like an important thing was that I had a significant other that was there for all types of support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was very important. The mindset thing of, like I said earlier, like not thinking this is something I'm going to be, but something that I am. And I think between the work that we did and the work that I was doing, feeling to a point of comfortability, and I have things in place to at least go for this. And if it doesn't work out, then there's other options. So kind of dismantling that fear of like, if this doesn't work, then like I'm screwed. As well as the fear of, and I was reading about this recently, the fear of looking stupid. Because I think a big fear for me and for other people is holding back on doing something, because not necessarily just the fear of the failure, but the fear of failing and looking stupid for trying. But that's like a fear that you have to conquer in some way if you're going to do anything notable or meaningful to you.
Yeah, no, that resonates with me, because a lot of the things that we both do is we build in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're posting content, we're like sharing systems, we're releasing music, like everything that we do and everything that creatives are going to do. And, from now moving on is all about showcasing and kind of staking your claim and letting people know this is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, it's like that the fear is not just like what happens in my life if I don't make this work. It's more like now there's this added social pressure that has just kind of become the world that we live in. You know what I mean? And so like, first and foremost, I think most people can relate to that aspect of it, which is like, if I say I'm going to do this, now the pressure's on. Like I'm either gonna do it or I'm not.
But there's a good side of that in accountability, and not accountability in terms of like someone checking on you and like, did you do this thing? But that accountability, it's almost internal, where there are people that support you or care about you, or even just watching. You now have an internal sense of accountability to make things happen for them, essentially, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And also like identity too, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
If you say like, I am a music producer, I am an audio engineer, I am an online coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start to view yourself as such, and other people do as well.
Yeah.
And that starts to be the way that people know you. And so like you've kind of set yourself up for like, I'm gonna show up as this person who I say I am. And that kind of keeps you going every day, because if you fail to do so, now you're like having like you said, almost like the internal accountability system would be off there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so aside from just like the mindset aspect of like deciding to go all in, like how did you know that you were ready? Because let's be honest, like to do music full time or to do anything against the traditional like day job, you've got to get your finances in order and you've got to be able to make enough money, right? So like when we started, your situation was pretty good, right? Like you were comfortable and like everything. And a fear was like, if I lose this comfortability and you have responsibilities, whether that be, you know, just bills or, you know, you have a significant other now, wife. And so those things are important to you. Like, how did you know, like, when it was time to say, like, I can make this work from a financial standpoint?
I mean, easily the first thing off is having a savings built up. Anyone should have an emergency fund that can cover 3 to 6, at least preferably 6 months of like needs, like actual needs, like your rent or mortgage, gas, your dog food, your food, not eating out though, your utility bills, just your car note, insurance, just like that stuff that you know you need. Like what's your bare minimum to survive? You can cancel subscriptions. You don't need Netflix. You're trying to build something. Like spend your time on that. If it's just needs 3 to 6 months, preferably 6, of like savings built up. So having that was like, okay, even if I fall on my face for the next 3, 4, even 5 months, I will be all right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna lose my car, my house, whatever. And then also, like I said, having a significant other is also beneficial in that sense.
For sure.
So that's the one half of it, is being prepared for the worst. But then on the other hand, being prepared to handle everything that you can take in. And what I mean by that is having like pricing and your different revenue of income, running the numbers to estimate what would be expected low and expected high, and what that means, what you can include, what you cannot include, what your business needs to run your overhead, and running all those numbers and getting a clear picture of like, okay, how much time do I have if I make zero money until I can start making money? If I make this much, kind of like forecasting your finances depending on what your business does, and being ready to, like we talked about earlier, being a doer rather than being able to actively do to try to get that stuff coming in. I think that's mainly all of it.
Yeah, and another thing too that I just happened to know your situation is that you said you were booked out for 2 to 3 months because you were only able to do like nights or weekends. It's right. You had the demand for the service that you offered, but the fact that you worked a full-time job kept you from being available for bringing in more clientele or providing more service, right?
Right.
And so I guess like just now that how long have you been doing this full-time?
2 years and 3 weeks.
Okay, so yeah, it's probably been about two and a half years since we were together.
Yep.
Okay, so what are you doing now? Like even I'm curious, like what are you providing? What services are you providing? How are you running your business? Because you view it as a business, you know, like all of our creative projects are businesses at the end of the day. So what are you doing now to, I guess, make it happen, you know?
So the bread and butter is and has always been record studio sessions, you know, and whether that is recording or mixing, or sometimes people just want to vibe in the studio, whatever. Recording sessions is like the majority of everything. Mixing work, mastering work, whether I recorded it or someone sent it in. Production work, making the instrumentals for people. The publishing company with Sync and making music for Sync licensing for TV and films. That's a part of it. You have I've gotten a lot better at negotiating splits with people so that there's a perpetual, it may not be a lot, but there's a perpetual income. At one point, it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but there was a good like 6 to 9 months where I was paying my electric bill with streaming royalties every month.
That's awesome.
So you have that. I do like some teaching stuff here and there. I don't have like a full system or thing set up in that, but people come and they want to learn one thing or another. So we'll set that up, whether in real life or online. Um, that is, I mean, those are like the main things. There may be like little odds and ends, things that are in the world of audio or production, but it's mainly that.
Got you. Let me see where we're at with time here real quick. I think we have like, okay, we got like 9 more minutes. Cool. Okay, cool. So, kind of like just this next sort of stint here, I want to talk about like systems and habits that you either have in place or that you execute on daily, weekly, monthly, like whatever kind of format you feel called to speak on. And the reason why is because my big thing is systems. And the system that I am so big on right now is the Warpath. And for me, that has been the one thing that if I could just like point to one thing over the last 10 years that has like done the most for me, it's been that system. And so just for, to give it some perspective here, it's literally just me tracking 5 habits that I do every single day. And it seems so simple that it shouldn't be as effective as it is at like me getting things done, creative output, feeling good, just all the things that come from it. And so at first I was even hesitant to speak on it or teach it. I'm like, it's so simple. Like no one's gonna like look at this 5 habit tracker and be like, this is gonna change my life. You know what I mean? Until I've been doing it for the last 6 months. And the results that I've gotten it's been a real identity shift. And the shift in my identity is that I've proven to myself that I am someone who shows up and does what I say I'm going to do. And that could be in, fitness, creative output, business, any area. But the fact that I have visual evidence on a tracker that I show up and do what I'm going to do gives me the confidence to execute on any project or anything that I'm looking forward to doing. So you've probably seen or heard me talk about the Warpath, but like you don't really know like what it is that much. You know what I mean?
No, I've seen the content on like IG and whatnot, and postings about it, and I wondered if it was just a fitness thing or not. But you kept talking, and I saw something about habit tracking, but I never got too deep into it. I just saw it, and I'm like, look at him go,
yeah,
him going.
Yeah, so one thing that I want to get better at is being like crystal clear about like what it is and how it can help people and stuff like that. Because it's really about me just keeping track of 5 daily habits that help me in 3 areas. The 3 areas are my craft, which is music production, my business, which is online coaching, and then my body, which is just like training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And before we like dive into that or speak on that, like I'm just curious what systems and habits that like do you have certain habits that you do every single day that you track, or like what are some things that you can point to that you would attribute, a good amount of your not just success like financially or anything, but just like overall like your life? Like are there any systems in place?
I think the big 3 for me are communication, task management, and bookkeeping, essentially.
Okay.
So,
and you're speaking from like I guess this would be like from a business perspective, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess touch on each one of those.
I mean, daily task management and communication are important, right? So for communication, there's always 2 or 3 times a day where I cycle through every communication medium, just responding, catching up, flagging things. Depending on the communication, maybe going to task management real quick so I don't forget, or writing something down. But mainly just a whole cycle through communication. Is everyone up to date on everything? Is anyone waiting on a response from me? Is there anything to be booked? Any task to be created, essentially?
And are these like your clients or these people that you're like working with? Like What do you mean specifically?
Everything.
Yeah.
Depending on where I'm at in the time of day and what's going on, it may be personal, or it may be partners, or it may be clients. It just
Gotcha.
it kind of just depends.
Yeah, even like today, right? Like it's probably something that went from communication to task,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
what did I hit you up 2 nights ago or
Well,
yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, we put this together
Yesterday
in
or
less than 24
within 48
hours.
24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And then task management kind of is tangential to that,
Mm-hmm.
but that is a little bit more, because the communication thing can kind of happen like before you got here, I had like all my stuff set up,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I've got like 20 minutes till he gets here. Let me cycle through my thing, Instagram, any requests, any messages to respond to, text, email, all that stuff. But then task management is more like I have to be sitting down and at my station and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my like Trello board, and everything's tagged and labeled. There's different like what category, like what type of work this is, whether it's like production or administration or even video stuff. You know what I mean? Everything has its tags and it's all organized so I know where I'm at, which again, tangential to communication.
For sure.
Something gets moved or done, that's a cue to me. Hey, go message that person, update them on the status of what we're doing. But yeah, that's more of a sit down at my station, look at what I have, check the calendar, see when I need to do things, when I can do things, where I have to be, all that. There's several different systems in there, but it's mainly based on organization, being prompt with it and labeling things correctly, and moving them when they need to be moved. And then the last one, financial. That's like a strict weekly thing. That's a Monday thing to go in, add receipts for business expenses, categorize transactions, pay any bills that are outstanding, move money where it needs to be, check on investments. All that stuff is all a Monday activity before I get into any creative mood.
Got you. All right, we had a little intermission there. We needed to reset the camera. That only has 30 minutes. Yeah, so we were talking about systems and just things that you're doing on either a daily, weekly basis to make sure you're executing, right? Showing up and doing what needs to be done. And so off camera a little bit, we were talking about the Warpath and just like you have your curiosities about it, and I would love to talk about it. So if you want to kind of just like ask me your question, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So you mentioned it was tracking 5 habits for 3 different categories, but what are the habits that you're tracking, and then how are you tracking them? Because I don't know how. Because in my mind, it's probably something like intangible habits that I don't know how you would track.
Got you. Okay, so it's actually very tangible. And I track it using a Google Sheets, like the most basic spreadsheet form you could use. I actually copied this habit tracker that I got from just a random YouTube video I watched years ago. And I had been using habit tracking for a long time, and kind of just like have it running in the background, like some days I would track, some days I wouldn't. Some seasons I would get like really serious about it, others I wouldn't. And so to answer your question about like how I'm tracking, it's very simple, basic Google Sheets. And that's kind of the power of it. It's just something that I can look at and do really quickly every single day and kind of just like check my boxes. And the 5 boxes that I check are, or the 5 habits that I do every single day are habits that I have been doing it to some capacity for the last 10 years. Now, with the intention of doing them every single day and treating them as like sort of like my scorecard for the day, that I've only been doing for about 6 months.
Question: Did you
Yes.
did you list the habits, then realize that you were doing them, or did you realize that you were doing them and that's how you made the list?
Okay, so where the habits came from specifically were out of necessity of what I was looking to achieve at the time I decided to commit to them. So what I mean by that is the story is I was sitting at the library and I was just getting some work done, and I was just in a place where I've gone through seasons where I've been like really happy with like my productivity and the things that I'm getting done, and I've been through seasons where I'm as dissatisfied as a human being could possibly be. Well, this is one of those times, and I was looking at some like challenges that I was having financially, just like internally, knowing that I wasn't doing, I wasn't showing up and I wasn't executing at a level that I knew I needed to. And what I mean by that is I've always worked my ass off. For a very long time, I've worked my ass off. And sometimes I'm like, what do I even have to show for all of this work? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Am I actually being productive and effective, or am I just logging a bunch of hours?
Yeah.
So at this time, too, I also started reading two very, very important books to this system, which were Atomic Habits by James Clear, I believe, and what's the other book? Deep Work by Cal Newport. And so Atomic Habits kind of led me back to my habit tracker, and Deep Work kind of led me to this idea of like getting work done that actually moves the needle. And so I'm sitting at the library. I had just listened to these audiobooks, both of them multiple times through on several trips back and forth from Chicago. And I was like, okay, like I know that I want to apply the things I'm learning from both of these books. These are like the books of my year, that and The War of Art, which that's the book I thought you were going to say earlier, because the whole idea of going pro kind of comes from Stephen Pressfield. And so those three books combined, right, was basically where all of this originated. And so I'm sitting there at the library, and I don't know if I saw something. I don't know if I read something. I don't know if this idea just popped in my head, but I just, in my head, just said, like, I'm on the fucking warpath right now. Like, I don't know what that is, and I don't know what that's going to look like, but, like, I've got to get on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood up immediately. I took my phone outside. I walked around, and I just recorded my first ever like video on the Warpath. And I just like went on there and I was like, hey guys, like I have this thing I'm excited about. Like I'm going to do this 30-day challenge where I just check off 5 habits every single day. And it was inspired by 75 Hard by Andy Frisella. I've done that years ago, and that was like another one of those points in my life where I was like extremely low and just needed to like have something to ground myself and root myself in every day, and to like feel good about myself, and like executing that did that. But I couldn't just go back to 75 Hard because those particular habits that are in that program weren't going to lead to the results that I was after.
Okay.
So this is where the habits come into play.
Okay.
So the 5 habits that I chose for the Warpath each have a purpose. So the first habit is a daily walk outside for 30 minutes. That one's as plain Jane and simple as it gets. There's so many benefits to that. But one that I've realized above all else is that all of my best ideas come on my walks.
That walk, yeah.
I think Nietzsche said something along the lines of, an idea that didn't come on a walk is not an idea worth having. Something to those lines. Yeah. And so aside from like getting sun, being away from your desk, exercise, like all those things are important, but it was more about like the ideas for me. And another thing I would do is like listen to tracks that I was working on my walk and taking notes on things I wanted to hear from it, or evolutions of it. Okay. And so I was like finding that the 30-minute walk I was taking was actually one of the most effective increases in my productivity in terms of output, because I was getting ideas that I could then go execute on.
Right.
So that was the first habit. And like I said, I've been walking for, so I'm like the walking guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've been walking for so long. And I walk for way more than 30 minutes a day. Like I do several of those. But that's the bare minimum, right? That's how you check.
That's what's needed to check the box.
Correct. And so the second one is a daily practice. And this is something that is important for all creatives to have a dedicated time every single day where you're working on your craft. And it can be anything that is related to your craft, right? Like I'm a music producer, so that might be like sound design, or that might be arranging songwriting ideas. That might be right now my goal is creative output, so finishing tracks. So my daily practice is just working on original music through my track finishing system that I created for myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And to check that habit, it's just 15 minutes a day.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. So the reason there is that it's something that you want to be able to do every single day.
Right.
And whether that's, someone saying, I want to learn how to play the piano, 15 minutes a day compounds,
Yes, it does.
over 30 days, in this case, because it is a 30-day challenge, is better than the intensity of 3 hours today and then I don't touch it for a week.
Right, right.
So that's the kind of the idea there. And then the third habit is to pull from Cal Newport, and deep work is 90 minutes of deep work every single day.
What is considered deep work?
So deep work is high leverage, focused effort on one task that's going to move the needle forward in either your business or this is why I said business, creative output, right? Music production, whatever, or body, right? So anyone could spend 90 minutes on, I'm going to sit down and work on my business, or I'm going to sit down and work on my music, or I'm going to spend my 90 minutes in the gym today. And we're
sorry to interrupt you. Is that deep work box that you have to check, the deep work that you do, is that like you pick a thing and that's what you stick with, the same thing for those 90 minutes? Or can like one day the deep work be body, the next day the deep work be creative output, the next day be business, the next day be business? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so for the daily practice, I highly, highly recommend someone picking one craft or one area of their craft to focus on for 30 days. You don't want to practice piano today, coding Python tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? You want to stick to something for at least 30 days before you reflect on it. Okay. And then you either continue with that or you change it to we're constantly going through seasons, right?
Yeah, yeah. Are you, I mean, I'm sure you'll get to it later if so, but are you saying that at the end of the 30 days, there's like a reflection, I don't want to call it task, but you're supposed to reflect on those 30 days. And okay. All right. I'll let you get to that.
Yeah. But. No, you're good. So, I mean, just real quick, basically the Warpath is a challenge.
Okay.
I just happened to do it consistently because I did it for the first 30 days and saw so much results.
You just kept it going.
I adopted it as a way
lifestyle.
Of life.
Yeah. Okay.
So I walk on the Warpath every single day.
Yeah.
But as far as deep work goes, that's a great question. So deep work is kind of ties into this idea of the one thing by Gary Keller, which that whole entire book can be summed up to asking yourself the question, what is the one thing I can work on today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary?
That feels like a loaded question.
And it's supposed to be a loaded question. And that's why deep work sessions require you to go into it with an intention. Today, my task is X.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's distraction free.
Yeah.
So your single point focus on one task, no distraction. That is definition of deep work. And deep work as compared to shallow work is 10 times more productive.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend you and everyone go read the book Deep Work. It actually changed my life, like seriously. Yeah. So anyways, day by day that changes, and it's important to reflect on the work you do each day. So I actually created a deep work log, which is way more intense than my daily habit tracker. And I actually created an entire system around deep work because of how important it is.
Okay.
So that's the third habit. The fourth habit is posting on social media an original post every single day.
What One for each, or just one in general?
One post. This again, these are the bare minimums to check your box.
Right. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So posting one thing on social media, because I personally believe that the world is going to be ran by personal brands.
Yeah.
Right? Like with so much AI technology coming into place, so much noise, right? Like personal brands are going to be the signal. And for me personally, growing several artist projects, a business, and just a personal media company is kind of how I'm looking at it, right? It's like this umbrella that has my artist projects, my business and everything.
Yeah.
Nothing is more high leverage, no asset I can build greater than my personal brand, which is why we're like doing things like this. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So posting on social media every day is you showing up for yourself. It's an accountability thing, but it also allows you opportunities to create community and opportunities for building clientele, like all the things that, and for me, like also booking gigs or whatever. So like showing up on social media is a non-negotiable every single day. And that could be, I'm just gonna make a Twitter post today, or I'm gonna post on my Instagram story. I tried to keep it very simple. It just so happens that I've gotten to the point now where I post like several times a day. Yeah. And I'm trying to get even better at it because it's a skill that's so important. And I'm trying to do reels every single day. Yeah. Just because of like the power of reels. Yeah. But if I can't film a reel, or if I don't have a reel filmed, like just something on social media. And then the last habit is what I call a daily power down ritual, which is just your reflection on the day. I do this in my journal. It's at this point, it's about the only thing I still do with pen and paper. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I take notes and like ideate on pen and paper, and sometimes I write. But for the most part, I'm using, Chat GPT or just some form of like technological aspect, my notes on my phone or something. Yeah. But I do my daily power down ritual on paper every single day. And what it is it's so simple. On the left side of the page, I time block my entire next day. So I write from, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is around the time I'm awake each day. Mm-hmm. And every single one of those hours is blocked for what I plan on doing. Yeah. And now, by no means do I have to be perfect on that. It's not a straitjacket. It's just structure. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
it stops you from waking up, the alarm going off, it being 7, and you being like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll lay here for another half hour before I get up and decide what I want to do with my day. It's like, okay, I said I was going to get up and take a walk right when I wake up, and then shower, and then read this thing. So I got to get up right now.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing it does too is it allows you to realize, at least this happened for me, you can get so much done.
Yeah, if you utilize the time right.
Yeah, if you're time blocking, if you know, like, and at this point, I know for a good amount of the things that I do, like how long they're going to take or how much time I need, and my 90-minute deep work block, that's always on there. Mm-hmm.
Do you do that at the same time every day?
I try to. Okay. My lifestyle right now is like I'm traveling a lot. Sometimes I'm out until 4 a.m. with music stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm not perfect, and I also work a part-time job, so like that kind of gets in the way. But for the most part, I do my deep work at the library, and I can schedule those out a week in advance. So I have a 3-hour time block at the library that I do, and I try to get those in a similar time frame every single day. And then aside from the time blocking, I also have a clear goals list for every single day. So on the left side of the sheet, it's the time blocks, and then on the right side, it's like in those time blocks, what are the goals? What are the things that I'm trying to get done in my deep work session on my daily practice? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Yeah. Or like things like this that are kind of like ad lib. It's we blocked out a time, but then I also set a goal for it. Right. Right. And so those are the 5 habits. And the reason why I picked those 5 is because it focuses on the 3 areas, right? It's the walk is for your body, but it's also for
Your mind.
productivity, like I said,
Yeah.
you know. And then your deep work is allowing you to decide what your goals are right now. So if someone's goal, like what season of their life they're in, is kind of what I mean. So right now I'm in a cash flow season. Like I've got to make some money, make this business make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm in the need of that. So right now I'm in a season of cash flow. So my deep work sessions every day are on content creation, marketing, and outreach / sales, if you could say so.
Yeah.
Someone might be looking to gain 10 pounds of muscle. Okay, your 90 minutes a day should probably be spent in the gym.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of deep work, is it allows you to decide what your goal is and then attach your effort today to that goal, going back to the one thing, right?
Yeah. Can I steer you in a different direction?
I would love you to.
Okay, so
We have 11 minutes, by the way.
all right,
just saying.
perfect.
Yeah.
So I feel like for a lot of creatives and even people that aren't creative but are having entrepreneurial sense, want to start their own business, want to be professional at something, et cetera, et cetera. One of the perks of it, especially in a creative field, is a bit of flexibility. Because, you know, I could, you know, when we're done with this, I might check my phone and I might have a message from Brendan saying, hey, someone wants to book with you after your session tonight. Like, do you want to stay and do that? And being able to be flexible to do that is really nice, as well as like knowing like, okay, man, what's today? Saturday. I know I just booked out Wednesday really heavily. I'm going to take Monday light. And Tuesday I'm going to do this so that Wednesday I don't feel burnt out by the time I get to Wednesday.
Sure.
Just examples of flexibility, whether it's throughout your month, your week, or even your day. So is there any conflict? How does that work with time blocking your whole day and knowing that you have to do this and that? The daily habits, I get. Those aren't, I mean, between those three, the three that have a time thing, 15, 90, 30.
It's
that's
two
not,
and
that's
a half
not,
to 3 hours.
Yeah, so it's not a lot, but if you're time blocking your whole day,
Yeah.
how does flexibility, how do you make room for flexibility? What does that look like?
Yeah, I try to operate with this philosophy that I always prioritize what feels right.
Okay.
And I don't mean like easy. It doesn't feel easy, you know what I mean? But if I've sat down with my day and I have a weekly strategy session that I do. I guess this also is on pen and paper. There's this company called Ink and Volt, and they created a weekly dashboard. And it allows you to basically, there's like sections for different projects that you're working on that each have like a drop down that you can, I use it to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way through Sunday on all the areas of my life. Okay. So for example, I have Be Real Beats, which is my artist project and personal brand. I have Space Macers, another artist project, The Prolific Producer, my online business, training, my workout schedule, Maine and Madison, my actual work schedule, and then a personal miscellaneous kind of like things that just pop up, right? Like could be anything. And every Saturday or Sunday, depending on which day I'm more free, I usually sit down for about 30 minutes and plan the whole next week. And that never goes to plan. Yeah. But the point isn't to be perfect or
right.
Again, going back to flexibility, one of the things that I love about what we do is that we get to do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, I'm planning out my week, and then every night I'm planning out my day. Opportunities arise all the time, and I prioritize what I feel right, what energizes me, what motivates me, and what I can tie back into like my current season of goals. You know what I mean? Or some days, like, dude, you know, like for me, like with training, working creatively on music and business, I get like bouts of just overwhelm and burnout sporadically, you know. Luckily with this system, and I actually thought about this a lot yesterday, is that I haven't burnt out in the last 9 months. This system kind of came from a burnout where I was like, I don't want to end up back in the, like, if you've ever burnt out.
So you were trying to make a system where you could be as productive as possible, but to a threshold where you don't reach burnout.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and if that was my intention or not, that's what it became.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I have this this checklist of things that if I'm doing them every single day, and a caveat or just an important thing here is that the first month I did this, I did 30 days in a row, all 5 habits every single day. Because I was pulling from the 75 hard concept, which was like, if you even fail one habit, you failed the whole thing. So I was doing that, and I did that. And it was really effective and really productive. And then I was like, you know me, I was like, how can I turn this up a notch? So then I added 5 more daily habits. Okay. And then that month I sucked. Like I wasn't even doing the original 5.
Oh no.
Like life picked up, music gigs picked up, traveling picked up, all these things. And so I was like, I think it's at like 8. Here, let me see here. 6 minutes.
All right, I thought I heard the camera.
Oh, you're all good. So I was like, okay, more isn't always better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it kind of like, so now just for disclosure, like I do track 15 habits every single day, but only 5 of them are the Warpath. And my goal at the end of a 30-day period or at the end of the month, I choose to start it on the first of the month. You can start it whenever, just do 30 days, is to have an 80% clip. So I even wrote down on my tracker, when I do what I say I'm going to do 80% plus of the time, I'm unstoppable. And so my tracker keeps percentages. It's like a checkbox every day. And at the end of at the far right column is total completed out of total opportunities. And then it gives me a percentage. And so my goal is just 80%. And right now, actually, in this month, it's the 9th today, I'm at like 68% effective. So for the rest of the month, I'm going to have to up that. You know what I mean? But the reason 80% is kind of arbitrary, but it's something I just started with and realized that like if I'm doing what I'm doing 80% of the time, like I feel good, I'm effective, my identity, is still tied to the Warpath, you know what I mean? And so I kind of forget where we were going with that, but basically I don't have to be perfect.
Right, which allows the flexibility.
Correct.
Okay, that's for that's how you incorporate the flexibility by not feeling like you have to be perfect and you can miss some things if there's a better opportunity.
Correct.
Which also kind of leads me to my next question that I've been wondering since almost the beginning of this conversation is, say you set that 80% arbitrarily, and even daily, what are there, and if so, what are they, negative consequences for not hitting those goals? Like, is it just, oh, I didn't hit them, I need to do better, or is there something that is an actual consequence?
That's a good question, and something that I didn't think about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, first of all, I'm not going to punish myself. Like, I wake up every day with my hair on fire, so I don't necessarily need
more punishment.
Yeah, like to be like, oh, you didn't show up today. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel that even when I'm 5 for 5, I'm like, how could I have done better? Like, what could I have done? You know what I mean? So I didn't.
Man, sorry.
You're good.
I had a day this week where I was like, I need to do the final mixes on this album so I can master them. Like, it's in the master. He's put the payment on the mastering. I need to get the final mix is done so I can finish these so he can put this thing out. And I got all of them done in a day. It wasn't a lot of tweaks. It was just little things here and there. I got them all done in a day. And then that night I was sitting there and I'm like, I should have started mastering those. I should have at least started I was just so like, how is this not enough? I did everything that I was like, it would be great. It's more than I expect to get this done today. I got it done and was like, it's not enough.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the perks of having the checklist every day is something that high achievers, high performing individuals, most of us kind of suffer from this idea of like, it's never enough. And one of the side effects of doing this is that if I like wake up and get all 5 habits done by noon, psychologically, I won. My day is a victory, you know?
Yeah.
And so this has given me a way to know like when I'm allowed to, it's even weird to say that, to feel like accomplished. You know what I mean? But to kind of go back to your original question, which is an important question, like what are the, like everything that's good for you also has negative aspects of it. And one of the negative aspects of the Warpath is that if you stake your claim and you say, I'm going to do this, the numbers don't lie, right? So at the end of the month or even at the end of each day, if you didn't show up, you are basically creating cognitive dissonance between the identity that you wish you had or that you claim to have and the person you're actually showing up as. For me, that's enough.
Yeah, the internal dealing with that is the consequence.
Correct. Yeah. I'm not like, I can't have, a snack today or I'm not going to. Now, there are certain things in place where it's like, I probably shouldn't be hopping on social media until I'm done with my deep work.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are going to come in the evolution of this. Right now, the Warpath is at 2.0. I'm about to launch Warpath 2.0 by getting as many of my friends, network, people like yourself to just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like this next evolution. For the last 6 months, I've been chiseling away at it. Warpath 1.0 is really me. And now I'm ready for Warpath 2.0 we. You know what I mean? So that's really where this next evolution is going. And then Warpath 3.0 is probably going to have more things in place where it's like systems to just enhance what's already there. Like, hey, let's not, hop on social media first thing in the day. Maybe don't ever touch it until your deep work and your craft is done, right? And then now we're posting on social media. Let's use it more so as like a way to post. And I'm using social media because that's my phone and social media are my crutch. That's like if I need to do better, And so there's kind of two exercises, I guess you could say, that I have everyone do before they hop on the Warpath. The first one is a goal stack. It's just reverse engineering your biggest goals down to like daily goals. And then a distraction destroyer is like identifying your internal and external distractions that keep you from executing. And even though I still am not perfect at this, I've gotten so much better at focusing and being more productive by actually eliminating instead of doing more.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
So just having those two, and I actually have those as like downloadable things that you can work through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To kind of set yourself up for success on that. But yeah, that one of the you're actually like giving me ideas for how to improve it already, right? It's like what are some stipulations that would go around to make this even more effective?
Yeah. Even like you said, like adding your daily things to do.
That's probably gonna click.
Yeah, fuck it. The daily things to do as well as the daily things not to do.
That's so funny. Yesterday, I went on ChatGPT and I was like, all right, well, first of all, ChatGPT knows everything about the Warpath. It's like the co-creator. You know?
Yeah.
But yesterday, it's funny you say that, and I'm glad you said that. I went on there and I was like, hey, you know everything I'm doing every day. Make me a list of everything I shouldn't be doing every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I actually I need to go put that into a document and add that into the material.
Yeah. What were some of the things that told you not to do?
Social media, one of them. A big one that I've conquered years ago, but like pornography.
Yeah.
Like huge distraction, huge energy waste that a lot of people are still like doing daily or even just ever, which is, I have a lot of opinions about that. It's not what this conversation is necessarily about. Some other ones on there, the people in your life are distractions. And it's so hard to say that, you know? Like the people you love, your family, your significant other, your friends. But those are sometimes our biggest distractions. And so one of the ways that I personally tackle that very sensitive kind of situation is communication.
Yeah.
Hey, like, well, one way I liked it is Stephen Kotler, the Art of Impossible, another huge book in like just defining and shaping how I view the world and like these sort of things. He has a sign that he would put like out in his office that says "fuck off, I'm flowing," and I kind of take that and adopt that into my communication with. If I'm on do not disturb, that means like fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And respectfully, if you do reach out to me, I'm not going to see it.
No.
You know, because the phone's off over there, like in a different place or whatever. And I try not to have my phone visible during deep work. So it'll be in the room, might be in my book bag, it might be behind my laptop to where I can't see it.
Yeah.
And do not disturb also works on my Mac.
Right. Yep.
So that is like a big no, right? Like you don't want to be accessible to the outside world while you're doing deep work.
Right.
Because it's a distraction.
Yep.
You know? And he talks about Stephen Kotler, it's like the most renowned, the leading voice in flow science. If you get into a state of flow, which is one of the best things you can do, you know, for so many reasons, it only takes you a split second to get knocked out of it and an average of 15 minutes to get back into it, if you can even get back into it at all.
Yeah, if you can even get,
You know, so eliminating just distractions above all else. That's like the no list, right? Like whatever your distractions are. And like I said, there's a list that I came up with. I think there's 10. I don't remember them all off the top of my head right now. I need to sit with that more and like really adopt it. But yeah, just eliminating as many of those internal and external distractions as you can. Because a lot of times distractions are internal. It's when you start to feel overwhelmed or stressed or like the work you're doing is starting to require more energy than you're willing to give, even subconsciously. You'll seek, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, the dog needs out. Or, let me text back my girlfriend. You know, and what you don't realize is that came from an internal feeling that was happening in your session or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like identifying like, when do I get sort of like uncomfortable or feel like I need a break? Most of the time you don't even need one, you know? And
you just need to not be succumbing to that feeling of needing that distraction.
Yeah, I saw a thing literally today that was like, you can sit on, and I don't play World of Warcraft, but this was the tweet. It was like, you can sit on World of Warcraft for 10 straight hours and stare at your screen and not even know the outside world exists. So in this case, you know, that might be video games for some people. That might be scrolling on social media for some people. Basically, what we do, a lot of creatives, we work on our laptops or we work on our craft, right? And we think, oh, like I need a break or, oh, I can't focus anymore. It's like, no. Like, look at all the areas of your life that you can just like sink hours into.
Yeah.
You're capable of a lot more focus than you think you are.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for me, one of my struggles when it comes to distraction and focus is like there are tasks that are like waiting tasks, and it may only be 2 to 3 minutes or less.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like when you're bouncing a track.
Yeah.
And it's like it's only gonna take like a minute and a half to 3 minutes. But I mean I can't sit here just waiting for it.
Yeah.
And if I go to do something else, then I'm gonna
task switch.
I'm gonna task switch and not finish that thing. So if I just look at my phone watch 2 or 3 TikToks, boom, it's done. Now I can get back to what I'm doing. But I know it's a distraction and pulling me out of it.
Yeah. That I haven't mastered that one yet. And you're saying a bounce a track takes a couple minutes. Dude, sometimes if the internet speed isn't going fast enough and I'm like on Chat GPT, like creating something.
Yeah.
If that doesn't load in as fast as I want it to, I am like,
what can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do?
So that's something that I'm still working on. You know what I mean? I don't have the answer for that one.
Me either.
Okay. Where are we at with this? Is that going to keep going? Is
let me look.
Are the phones still going? Are they on fire? Like,